So I want to kick it off with one of the things that was most important to me in 1984, which is dun, 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 little Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
Fantastic.
Not only was it the very first cassette tape I owned.
Wow.
It was a very cherished movie-going experience for me. Obviously, this movie, it's actually rated as the #1 comedy of all time by IGN.com.
Yeah, what do they know, though?
That's fair.
Written by Aykroyd and Ramis. It was kind of one of the first movies that blends like horror and like comedy.
Yeah, we'd seen some stuff like The Addams Family and some of that stuff, but Ghostbusters, another movie we're going to talk about later, that was the one that made horror comedy a thing and that continued to be a thing for decades into the present day.
And this incredibly talented cast of comics together there. You know, you've got Rick Moranis there, and you've got Sigourney Weaver working there with Aykroyd, and it just all these people coming together to form...
kind of serendipitously coming together. Like, it wasn't even the intention.
Right. No. I mean, this was originally for Belushi, right?
Yeah. It was Belushi and Aykroyd were going to be in it, and it was going to be way, way higher budget originally because it was going to go... they were going to go through space and time and do all these things.
Like much more of like an action movie, you know, the high budget sort of affair like what you think about, and then they ended up, I mean, they made the right call.
It's one of those happy accidents where we get Bill Murray in this movie. And Bill Murray is this movie to some extent.
Yeah.
Oh, there's fantastic one-liners, that deadpan humor. I grew up...
Listen, do you smell that?
Yeah. I'm sorry, you got me. I grew up worshiping Peter Venkman. I thought he was the coolest guy ever.
Because he was.
Yeah.
He didn't care. And even as a little kid, I was like, that guy doesn't care at all. He just does whatever he wants.
But it's funny because nowadays, if Peter Venkman showed up in 2015, people would think he was a jerk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
He was a jerk, but he didn't
but he's
care.
an 80s jerk, and it's fine.
80s jerks are great. We love those guys.
2015 jerks are just...
when I saw this movie, I saw it in the theater, and it had been in the theater for a long time. It was one of, you know, back in the 80s, you could have a movie in the theater for like ever.
They would never go away.
And then it would go into dollar theaters and stuff like that. So actually, when this movie came out, I went to see it. It was right across the street from Terminator, which came out months later. And
Such a hard decision.
Well, I mean, I was really young at the time, so it wasn't like that hard of a decision. My dad was never going to take me to that. But I can remember coming out of Ghostbusters and just being like super jazzed up. I think I went home and started working on my Halloween costume that day.
That's awesome.
Well, it's such a wonderful collection.
Were you the library ghost?
What?
Were you the library ghost?
I bought my little Victorian dress and everything.
But that's a good, it's such a wonderful collection of images. Some of them, as a kid, were very scary. The library ghost terrified me.
Oh, yeah.
I really thought that part was frightening.
It's a great opening to a film.
Yeah, a couple of the other jump scares. But then also you have a giant man made of marshmallows. You know,
right.
Who
is
the streets
the
of New
most
York.
horrifying creature in that movie?
He is. That and the kind of David Bowie, you know, take on Gozer there at the end.
I liked that. I thought the Gozer at
it was
the end
rad.
Absolutely incredible. I feel like this movie holds up. Like it doesn't. You watch it now. Anytime it's on TV, I kind of watch it to the end.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you're flipping channels, and it can be anywhere in the movie, and you'll just sit there and watch the rest. Like even if you have places to go.
The only thing that's weird about it is that the villain is with the Environmental Protection Agency. And he's such a jerk, and like the movie totally holds up, but then I see that bit, it's like he's from the EPA and trying to shut him down. I'm like,
well, it was the 80s. It's the 80s.
That's the thing, it's the 80s. Like everyone's like, nah, the environment doesn't matter. Blow it all up. Throw
Kill
oil
the
on it,
owls.
it'll be fine.
Throw oil on the owls. Set them on fire. That's all right. Yeah.
So many one-liners in this movie. What's your favorite quote from this film?
40 Years of Darkness, Dogs and Cats Living Together.
Yeah.
That's trite, but it's my favorite.
I think it's true, Your Honor. This man has no dick.
That's mine too.
That's so good, and I'm gonna miss him.
That seems so naughty to me when I was a kid too. When he said it, I was like, oh my god, I guess I'll use that in the playground later. Try that out for size.
Yeah, I really like Did You Smell That from the opening seconds of that movie. The interesting thing about Ghostbusters for me is that there was all this, like the 80s is when they figured out merchandising, right? Like Ninja Turtles and Transformers, I mean everything. But Ghostbusters was the first thing for me where the merchandise was bigger than the actual property. Because I had that Proton Pack toy that I think every little boy had.
Yeah.
And it was such a huge deal, I was so excited. And for me, that toy and the Ecto-1, that was Ghostbusters for me, way more so than actually watching the film was. Like, I was really little. I didn't even hardly get the jokes when I was little.
Well, they had the brilliant idea of the cartoon spin-off, which made it relatable to kids, and that in turn let them make kind of a Trojan horse for the toy line.
Yeah.
And that worked out well. I mean, a lot of kids wanted to see the movie. Some of them did, and those that didn't saw the cartoon, knew the characters, and that helped it get into our
We're gonna see a
living
lot of that in this year. Little
Well,
toys creeping in.
Oh, man.
too,
and you touched on it, but the song too, right? Like,
Oh, dude, the soundtrack was so good. I mean, it was originally, as you guys know, it was going to be Huey Lewis who was supposed to do that song, and then he turned it down And then they got Ray Parker Jr. to do it.
And I don't
think a little like Huey Lewis.
I don't think I'll ever say this again in my life, but I'm glad Huey Lewis didn't get that job.
Yeah.
So many happy accidents.
You're right. I want Huey Lewis to get all the jobs.
I want him to get all the jobs except Ghostbusters.
He had some power of love to get to. You know,
yeah, it's true. He had to go take care of Back to the Future.
Oh, that's
he
right.
had his time.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, he got his. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, in a big way too. He had his own cartoon show as well.
Huey Lewis?
Yeah, well, not show, but like the theme song.
He and Punky Brewster fight evil together?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
It would.
We're getting off topic.